All right, sports fans, how's everybody out there doing? William Martin coming at you one more time here on YouTube with another edition of the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge Podcast. Michigan State has begun the process of distancing themselves from head football coach Mel Tucker amid sexual harassment allegations, as it's only going to be a matter of time before he will be terminated altogether. Now, upon coming to Michigan State in 2020, Tucker received a 6-year deal for 5.5 million per. But following Michigan State's 11-2 season in 2021, which included wins over arch rival Michigan as well as Penn State, Tucker received a 10-year extension for $95 million as Michigan State, like several other schools, were worried about losing their head coaches to other schools, which is exactly what happened that year when Brian Kelly left Notre Dame in favor of LSU, and Lincoln Riley did the same in departing from Oklahoma for USC. And after Tucker's breakout year in 2021 at Michigan State, the Spartans took a huge step backwards last year as they only were able to go 5-7. And before this college football season fully got going, the shockwaves came out of East Lansing surrounding Tucker. And even though that Michigan State is going to fire Tucker for a cause, while also more than likely looking not to pay him the money that is still on his contract, he's not going to go away quietly, being that he is still owed $77 million on his deal, which means that the lawyers for both sides are about to get involved. But even if it's not the full 77 million that Tucker receives, Michigan State is going to have to pay him to go away. And after shelling out the money to Tucker, which could possibly end up coming from some wealthy alumni, Michigan State is going to have to also pony up the bread for their next head coaching hire. And this could be one of the most important hires in the history of the program. And I say this because, the Big Ten is set to expand to 18 schools next year when Oregon, UCLA, USC, and Washington join the fray. And Michigan State cannot afford to get left behind. You already have the Michigan factor, Ohio State factor, and Penn State factor looming over this mega conference that is about to get bigger. And Michigan State cannot get caught up in that shuffle. Now, some potential names that you're probably going to hear for this job, in my opinion: Mark D'Antonio, the former Michigan State head coach, who is back around the program right now. And of course, we saw what Mark D'Antonio was able to do at Michigan State. And when Mark D'Antonio was in East Lansing, the Spartans took a back seat to nobody in the Big Ten. They had multiple wins over Ohio State, which included beating the Buckeyes in the Big Ten championship game, a Rose Bowl win over Stanford. And during D'Antonio's time at Michigan State, they dominated the series with the Michigan Wolverines. So that is a name that you're going to hear. Willie Fritz at Tulane. And of course, we've seen the job that Willie Fritz has done there. Obviously, it took him some time to get things turned around for the Green Wave, but nonetheless, he could be on some Power Five schools' radars. Marcus Freeman at Notre Dame. And of course, Marcus Freeman has a top 10 program right now with the Fighting Irish, solid recruiter. He's a Midwest guy. And the thing is, for Michigan State to get him to leave Notre Dame, they'd have to pony up the bread. Will the Spartans be able or be willing to do that? We'd have to wait and see. Another name that I'm going to throw out there: Pat Narduzzi, the current head coach at Pitt. Now, for 8 years, Narduzzi was the defensive coordinator at Michigan State under D'Antonio. This guy knows what it takes in the Big Ten. He's still recruiting that region, being at Pitt, with the whole Western Pennsylvania aspect. He's had some success at Pitt, just led them to the ACC championship a couple of years ago, their first conference championship in a very of any kind for that point, outright conference championship that is. And, this guy's been successful there, and he knows what it takes to win in the Big Ten as well. These are some names to keep an eye on, in my opinion. Or could Michigan State just go out of the box with a hire that nobody's expecting? We don't know. But at the end of the day, these next couple of months are going to be very important around this football program. Of course, the bigger the conference, the tougher it's going to be to win, and the more that you don't want to get lost in that shuffle. So let's see what's on the horizon for the Spartans as they look to keep up in the Big Ten. So, folks, that is going to wrap it up. And as always, I want to take this time out to thank you for tuning into the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge podcast here on YouTube. I want to take this time out to thank all of you fine folks out there for tuning in. And if you have not already, please feel free to subscribe to this channel. Now, if you're on Twitter, please feel free to follow me at 300 Pounds of Sports. And like I always say, if you follow me, it will be my pleasure to follow you right back. There's also the sports discussion group on Facebook at the Sports Depot 365. Now, you can check it out. Drop a line and be a part of one of the better sports debating sites going on social media. So, once again, fine folks, my name is William Martin, and I am signing off. And I'm saying take care and have yourselves a wonderful day.